Presenting from across the pond, it's the Squared Circle Relics Podcast.
Hello everyone, I'm your president, David Lloyd. I'm here with Jamie and Chris. Not as normal, we're doing an SCR session, mouthful. This is normally presented by Jamie, and we normally interview a guest, but all three of us are on this time round because it's very, very special, this one. We have, as a very special guest, Billy Celio from Upper Deck. Billy, how you doing, buddy?
Doing great, guys. Appreciate you having me.
For those who don't know who you are, and I'm sure most people do by now, most of our fans are from the CFP as well, so they've listened to you a couple of times on the Card Foundation. Do you want to give an introduction to who you are?
Well, I'm one of the senior product managers at Upper Deck. I've been working on a lot of the hockey cards, the Marvel cards, and this little license that we have called AEW. Been working on a number of those sets. I've been here for about 10 years, and so the easiest way to describe it, a lot of people are like, do you design the cards? I don't design the cards. I build the structure of the sets. I'm the guy that says you're going to have this many cards in each insert, and these are the inserts, and this. Like, my drawings are stick figures. I can't like that antelope there and the deer in the background. That's even beyond my capabilities of in Jamie's background. I draw stick figures, and so we have an amazing team that basically takes everything that I put on a brief, and they turn it into what you see in card form. But the concepts, the insert ratios, like all that sort of stuff, that's kind of the stuff I work on.
Cool. All right, thank you for that. So we're going to certain segments today. So the first one, we have to talk about it. So this session is going to be released on Sunday being All In 2024. The three of us, Jamie, Chris and I, will be at All In again. We were last year. We're going to be this year as well. It's just down the road from us, Billy. We all live near London, basically. So we're very much looking forward to it. I thought we'd just get a quick take, everyone's take on the show, the matches. What do you reckon is going to happen this time round?
Well, I'll just say that on the last episode of the podcast, I was not looking forward to it as much, but they have added a few more matches now, haven't they?
Yeah,
Jamie, you told me about this the other day. So yeah, now they've put in those kind of the ladder match. It seems like there's more wrestlers going to be on the card. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it a bit more now.
I mean, they could add everyone on that Casino Gauntlet match, can't they? To be honest, it's
anyone who isn't there, exactly. Yeah,
but we all know Orange Cassidy's going to win it. It's every time Orange Cassidy always wins, doesn't he? Come on. I don't see many. I mean, Billy, your take. I don't see many changes in titles this time round. To be honest, I see it as quite a. I don't want to say a house show.
You know, they surprise me. There's times where I think that, I didn't think, I thought they were going to come up with some sort of way that MJF didn't win in the last one. And then they let Will kind of keep his momentum going for a while. And I thought there'd be like a disqualification or something weird like that. But I'm just kind of looking down the list. I snuck a peek just to make sure I wasn't missing any of the matches. And, yeah, I mean, I'd like to see Britt win, but I think they're gonna keep momentum on Mercedes.
You can't see me shaking my head right now. I want her to win, but I just can't see it happening, to be honest.
I'm kind of biased too, because I just saw her at Comic-Con and she was nice, so it's like, oh, when they're nice, you want to root for them.
You want to root for them, yeah.
But yeah, I could see. Well, see, they're pushing Jack, and it's just like I'd like to see Darby win again, but He's one of those guys that they just, I don't think he minds if he loses. He just wants to put on good matches. So I don't think it's as important to him as it might be as important to Jack. So I don't know. We'll see. I kind of see what you're saying where I don't see a lot of stuff changing.
I can see Hook winning. I can see Hook winning. I can see the House of Black getting... So the House of Black lost their titles at the last All In. So I can see them getting that back this time round.
Yeah.
I can see Hook winning because it's like you never challenge again for it. I think I see that happening.
Jericho might be going on tour again too. Who knows?
Yeah,
Potentially, yeah, exactly.
And I can see this being Bryan Danielson's last match. I've never seen someone do so much publicity from AEW over here. It's really weird. Like all this week, Billy, it's just been wall to wall Bryan Danielson everywhere in the UK, which I find a bit strange. But I do think this is it for him now. I think we know he's going to have surgery. We know his contract. He's not actually working on a contract at the minute, apparently. So I think it's the end of D. Bryan potentially. We'll see though.
They had a nice montage video last week of Green Day, Time of Your Life, and they kind of had that as a montage going through. So I do wonder that. I do wonder if maybe this is the kind of the swan song, but we'll see. We'll see what happens Sunday, I guess.
Okay. I definitely don't think MJF's going to lose, by the way. He's the American champion. He's the American champion. You can't lose the American belt to Will. No way. No way. Okay. So, right, we'll move on. So, when we kind of designed this show over the last couple of weeks, I thought we have to start really with the hard questions first, because everyone's going to listen to the show and go, well, why isn't he asking them the stuff we want Billy to answer, right? So I think really it's just two questions, but two dual asked questions really on here. So, I mean, the first one is, why haven't we had any product in 2024? And that dualed with what's happening with Upper Deck AEW right now.
So the first one, 2024, is a great question. What happened last year? I think there's a certain specific amount of time that each set takes to make, and kind of what happened last year was and man, I hate to use like COVID as an excuse, because people sit there and say, well, it's been like 2 or 3 years since all this, but we're still catching up. We're still catching up in all of our licenses, to be completely honest with you, with wrestling, with hockey, with Marvel. And so what's been happening is, we're taking whatever times vendors are giving us to be able to make these cards. And sometimes they're earlier, sometimes they're later. And the last group, I don't know if you remember, but it's like you got 3 sets all at once almost. Yep. You got like Allure Metal and Flagship all at once, where our goal is to put out 3 sets a year, like 3 main sets a year. We'll also have, match day moments. We'll also have the new arrivals and some other pay-per-view stuff. But the goal is to do 3 sets a year. And we don't want to oversaturate the market with, a set every month. But our timing is just has not been great, and that has a lot to do with production. These sets have been built for a while. We've actually had to move. Like, people are all worried about, they're not doing Metal Universe anymore. No, Metal Universe, we built it. It's been built, but we had to move the date to 2025 because, we didn't want to release 5 sets in 2024 because some of the stuff's carrying over. Allure went from 2022 to 2023. So then the 2023 became 2024, and now it's all of a sudden we have a logjam of products. So instead of, doing that, we just completely moved the set. Like, people are like, oh, it's not coming out. No, it's coming out. It looks really good. I've already seen most of the designs. So it's almost like now we're getting ahead of the game because we had a year where we kind of had to push some stuff back. And so for the most part, our goal obviously is have a set come out every 4 months. Get the hype going, and then the next product, and then get the hype ready for the next product, and then the next product. And what's happened, unfortunately, is we got the hype ready about a year ahead of time, and it's just kind of like people kind of forget about it almost. So for 2024, that's kind of what's happened so far. It's been a logjam. Now I can say that 2024 flagship is set to release in, I believe, less than a month. So you will have your next product coming out. As much as I've been saying we're logjam, guess what? You got some products coming out, and you potentially in the next in September, and then we're hoping to have another one. I think Black Diamond is scheduled for around a December release, which I am ecstatic about. I didn't get to build that one. I am extremely jealous. My counterpart Tony did, and he got a lot of fun stuff to play with. And then Allure 2024 should be coming out probably near the beginning of 2025.
Okay, cool. Well, thank you. That answers the next set of questions, where it's like, what's the roadmap doing, and what are the dates? I think ultimately, it's not for me to really say with regarding what everyone's feeling about it, but ultimately from our side, we love you guys. We think you're great. We are frustrated, but we're only frustrated as a community. I don't like to say hobby. I like to say community. We're frustrated as a community because we want products. We want it. We see you guys as being more over than AEW right now, which is insane in itself, because I think AEW as a product in itself has been struggling for the last year. But when it comes to cards and AEW cards, honestly, there is a massive... Look at every time there's an EPack release. It just goes off the scale. People love it. And I think we're so looking forward to the next releases. Unbelievable, especially Black Diamond. I really can't wait for it. Stuff like that. It's just, I think the community itself has just been waiting for it, to be honest, mate. It really has been. And
the thing is, and I don't necessarily want to talk too much about our competition, but the thing that I believe, as our group has progressed, is we do something one year and then we try to improve on it. Like what worked, what didn't. Okay, this worked. Okay, keep that. Continue to improve on it. To where you're putting all the good stuff. You're putting more and more good stuff in the product, so the products will get stronger and stronger and stronger. I look back at that first release and I was just like, wow, compared to the 2023 set, this one seems kind of barren. But it's a good segue, Billy, to our next, what we're going to be doing next. You're a man. Perfect. I love it. So
broke my heart a little bit there, Billy.
We'll talk about some of the sets, but you're gonna get a lot of enthusiasm from me when talking about sets that haven't even come out yet, just because I know what's coming, and it gets better each time. I honestly can't wait, mate. Really can't wait.
Same.
So, the next part was going to be an overview of the 6 sets that have come out from the start to where we currently are. So, I hope you don't mind us doing this, Billy, because we're going to, in a nice way, constructively go over all of the sets with you. I've tried to do on every set like a guide, the likes and the dislikes. That's from my side, but I know Jamie and Chris share a lot of this as well, because we've talked about it on the pod loads of times.
Lots, yes.
Lots and lots and lots. So let's go back in time. Go back in the time machine to 2021, Upper Deck, All Elite, AEW. We call it Series 1, Billy. We know you hate us calling it Series 1, but we do. Came out on 6th of Jan, 2022. I put the likes... So the black base set is iconic. I think, there's no way. I mean, we do a Hall of Fame. Jamie, is this actually in the Hall of Fame at the minute? I don't know yet. It needs
not yet. I'll push for it each year, but it's not in our Hall of Fame.
I think we need to get it in there. The parallels, the canvases, the complexity. This is where Billy steps in. I loved the complexity of this set. It was like peeling back an onion. There was just more and more layers into it. It was when you think you've got kind of a handle on it, it's just more and more and more and more. Jazzwares, we'll go into that as well, Jamie, because I know you want to talk a tiny bit about the yellow cards as well. We'll get there in a sec. We love those as well. Dislikes, I don't think the magazine cards are for everyone. I think a lot of people are marmot. I love it. Billy, my first one of one was one of your magazine cards, Mock's one of one magazine card autograph. So I'm very happy that was my first ever one of one. So I'm happy with that, mate. Grading is obviously difficult because it's black bordering a lot of it. And I've also put down dotted lines. Would love to have seen them on card, and quality control of. There was some quality control. I think we all on here, Jamie, Chris, we all had some quality control issues on our cards.
Yeah.
Billy, we'll hand it over to you.
First off, I've got really thick skin, so if you guys have any problems or anything, I can take it. I've heard a lot. I'd be more. I go on a lot of podcasts, and I always say my job is to inform. Yeah. A lot of people will ask, well, why did you do this? Why did you do that? And I'm obviously I have the knowledge to be able to help people out, to explain why certain things happen a certain way. So if you don't like something, I don't take it. There's probably some stuff I don't like either. Things ended up turning out, but there is a lot of stuff I do like. The first set, man, I remember getting the call up to it's called the Jordan Room, and that's where the president has all of his meetings and conferences, and it's got decked out with Michael Jordan stuff. It's gorgeous. The thing I like most about it is they has a little refrigerator, so I can grab a Monster or some snacks too. Nice. Otherwise, I got to go to the vending machine. So I always make sure I keep myself a little hungry if I got a meeting in there. But so he calls me up there because he knows I'm a big mark, man. I'm a big wrestling fan. I was one of those guys that would be at the hotels and the airports and outside the arenas and all that stuff. I can't do that anymore, unfortunately. I gotta be respectful. But man, that was me. So I've always said, I'm like, can we get a wrestling license? I go, get the Glow license, the women's wrestling show that was on Netflix. Cool, I'm like, go for that. That would be great. Do a vintage set. And I get a call. I go up there, and in there is one of the lawyers for AEW, and then a couple other people, and they're like, so we're working on this, and what do you think you could do? And I'm just my eyes just get huge because I still the stuff I got signed. I know people get figures and pictures and stuff. I got cards signed. I would go to places and pick up base cards and pick up different cards to get signed. So I've been collecting wrestling cards for quite some time. And so we had a talk, and we ended up getting the license. So all right, time to build the first set. And there were so many big decisions that needed to be made. And one of the first and probably biggest, I think, a lot of back and forth was, what to do with autographs. Mm-hmm. And I think you've seen I don't want to call it stingy with autographs, but you knew if you bought a box of Money in the Bank, a box of money, you were going to get an autograph card, guaranteed. Yeah. In every box, you get an autograph card, and let's be honest, the roster year after year doesn't change too much, so it's the same autograph cards over and over again. And you had some of the biggest names, unless it was unless it was Undertaker or Stone Cold, almost every other wrestler, the value of their autograph, and these are they're superstars, you could buy for $10-$20 to be completely unless it was a high-end product. So we kind of wanted to add value back to autographs. So that was the first I don't want to say headbutting moment, but moment where there was a lot of conversation about well, should we give an autograph per box? Should we not? And I'm going to be honest with you. I lost that battle. It was our president that was really really saw the vision of keeping the value of autographs for AEW, and that's why you don't see an autograph per box. So the other thing that building the set, it's just I wanted to do and see stuff that wrestling fans would enjoy, not just hard hitters or power or stuff like that. I wanted stuff that was relatable to wrestling, and it was kind of funny because I think I had in one set, not this one, but like one set I had um, Mark merch, and that it was like the shirts that were in
T-shirts.
Metal Universe,
Yeah.
and the guys from AEW like, we don't really want to use the word Mark, and I'm like, yeah, but Marks call themselves Marks. They know that's what they are. Like, it's understandable. Like, I wanted to kind of use a lot of the language and a lot of stuff relatable to wrestling fans. So that was one of my goals. Another thing is we wanted to give AEW their own sets. I don't know if you've noticed, but like sometimes with our competitors, they're just picking up the baseball design, or they're just picking up
Yeah.
something else. And we told them from the start, we will give you your own set, like our own designs. And the other thing is, they didn't really want to go vintage. They didn't want to go like, there is no vintage AEW. There's no lineage or anything like that. So we wanted to give them more modern looking designs as opposed to some sort of throwback design. So that was another thing that we focused on. Now I know you had mentioned the dotted lines and those being hard signed, and it's a matter of just being able to get that done.
Yeah.
And at the time, that insert was like, we were supposed to print that form early, and we were supposed to get those cards printed in time for our signings with the wrestlers. And unfortunately, it didn't happen, and we had to use, labels for it. And then as time progressed, we're like, well, how can we get hard? Because a lot of this is dependent on when we get the wrestlers, what wrestlers are there, like all this stuff. So we really had to start figuring out how can, like, I love hard sign stuff as much as you guys. That's why, and I'm jumping ahead to the next flagship, but that's why we did buybacks the next year, is because I wanted hard sign content in the product, because we weren't able to execute it with the dotted line. So how are we going to do it? Well, guess what? We already have these cards printed. We're not waiting for someone to print them. They're already in our hands. So next time we go to a signing, let's bring those cards. So yeah, we were able to do a lot of stuff. Like the canvas it's an upper deck flagship kind of insert, and we added some of those. The main event cards. So, like I mentioned, I collect autographs, or I get cards
Yep.
autographed. I wanted cards that you could get autographed. I didn't necessarily want as many, like, there's some action photos in the base cards, but I wanted the look of the cards to be something where you take them to a convention, or you take them to the hotel, and you can get them signed, and they're going to look good signed. It's not just going to be like signing over their body flying in the air, or doing a finishing move or something. It's them like posed signing, because I'm a big autograph collector, so how the autographs look are kind of important to me also.
Completely agree. I've actually got the Hung Bucks, the three of them,
nice.
signed, the main event signed by all three of them, and
Nice.
they look absolutely amazing. Those cards are actually my favorite in the collection. So I didn't know that you made it specifically to make them autographable, but it just works. It really does.
Yeah.
100%. Like just like in ensemble cards for like Marvel movies and stuff. Like you try to build those the same way. This was 100%. Like, I wish I had the brief. I could show you the direction that I gave. The magazines, I was like, man, it'd be like, I remember collecting those wrestling magazines. I would go to the drugstore, and they would have them up there, and I was just like, man, it'd be kind of fun to do, like, make up some sort of magazine like cover. I wanted to do a little bit more than what was on there, but unfortunately, it's tough to put a lot of stuff on a 2.5 by 3.5 inch card. So that's kind of where that came from. Was just my collecting of those old WWF magazines that I had as a kid.
Is it about like obviously the different types of stuff as well? Obviously the amount of different parallels and the rainbow foils, and and the yellow Jazzware cards. How did that come about? Was that something that happened afterwards, or was it something at the same time Jazzwares wanted to try and do some kind of collaboration? How did that sort of relationship come together?
So they definitely wanted to do a collaboration with us. Like, it's funny, they have a few major like companies they work with, And Jazzwares and us, like, we know each other all now because like we see each other at the same shows whenever we do like we were at Double or Nothing, and like, oh, there's the Jazzwares booth, and we're like not that far from them, and we talked to them afterwards, see how everything's going. They had one of the sickest setups one year because they have like this full size thing that looks like a toy, and they were hiding it. And even though she's not with the group anymore, but Jade was inside, and so then they did the big reveal, and like she's just posing, and you're just like, that's kind of cool. Yeah. They have some good ideas, but you know, we thought this would be like we could work with them, and you know, it could possibly lead to other future things that we deal with. And so the problem is it happened so late in the process of us working on the first set. So we're like, well, what can we do? And at the time, it's like, well, we could create their own parallel for their set. And that's what ended up happening is they got the, like, we were kind of like, okay, what colors haven't we used? What would work with them and everything? And we got the yellow parallel for those guys. And like, I have a few of those myself. I like how the yellow just pops on those cards also.
I mean, it's become its own chase within that set as well. Like that become bigger than anything else pretty much, and getting the Wednesdays in Action. Everyone was going after that as a base set, really.
So Billy, Jamie's a master set collector, so like this kind of stuff is just like that's his porn basically. He loves it. He loves it.
So AEW Year One is my master set. So I'm trying to get one of everything for Year One AEW, just because of it being the first of the new company. I don't do it for everything, but this is kind of what I've set up myself as like the big challenge. So it's the biggest master set I've tried to ever do since collecting cards, pretty much. So
you know what's funny is, so when we were deciding like what foil boards to use and stuff, because I wanted to like use different patterns and stuff, and I'm like, well, let's use this one for the Dynamite, and they're like, you know, that's the Kaboom pattern.
Yeah.
I go, yeah, I know. I got it right here. Like, look, this is how this is how hard they thought about naming their Kaboom cards. Because you know what the name of the pattern is? Oh, I wish I could find it quick. Oh, here it is. The name of the pattern is Kaboom.
Kaboom. Okay.
Like, yeah, they worked real hard on naming that card. Like, oh, we'll call it Kaboom. No, but I'm just like, I don't care. They don't own the pattern. Like, it's in this big book of patterns and stuff. So I'm going to use it. And we did that. I'm like, let's add a little color to it. And another thing to think about is it's like when you're creating parallels, when you're creating stuff, is it's like, how often do you want them to fall? How rare do you want them to be? You know, how does it work with stuff like EPack? How does it work with like the different rarities? Like, do you want colors? Do you want there's a lot of things to think about when you're thinking about parallels. Now, I will say this about parallels. Like, people ask, well, why are there so many parallels? So when you print the cards, you use like the 4-color plates, and then like you use a fifth black sometimes to like change stuff around. But if you do a parallel, you don't have to change those plates. So it's a cheaper way to create more hits. That's something that now you can't go from like a regular paper to a rainbow foil board. You actually have to use new plates to sometimes when it's a different type of paper, but you can go from one pattern to another pattern. So that's kind of a way to help the manufacturer save money to be able to put other stuff in there.
I like that. It's very cool. Okay. Jamie, anything else from you? Chris, anything else from you?
I mean, I could talk about AEW Year One for a whole hour with Billy. I mean, there's so much stuff I'd like to know, but I'll have to separately with him, I think, on another chat.
I will say, Jamie, if your master collection includes exclusives, I know someone that might have 12 or 13 of the Ty Mello or Ty Conti exclusive cards that he's been hoarding.
Okay, I might reach out to said person. Does it rhyme with Billy?
Yes.
All I'll say on 2021 was I really enjoyed, because it was the first set, so we didn't know too much about it before it came out, was like the finisher parallels. I really enjoyed finding out that they were actually rarer than I'd realised, and going back through and seeing if you had any, and I think I had a Tay Conti one actually. So yeah, I like went back and then found it and was like, this is actually one of the rare ones. I'll keep this to the side, sort of thing. But yeah,
here's one of the weird things just about collectors in general, and the fact that they like shiny stuff. Those finisher parallels are much rarer than the dynamites.
Yeah.
Yet the dynamites usually value out more initially.
Yeah.
And so I was picking up the Ty Conti ones like for $1 or $2, and then I think the market kind of figured out, and then all of a sudden like they're like $3 to $5 a piece or whatever. But yeah, that was another little like that was just a matter of changing one plate to create another type of parallel.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yep.
We know a friend of the show opened about 8 blaster boxes when it first occurred, and every single one was a finisher parallel instead of a base.
Really?
He should have kept them all. I think he sold a lot of them off, but he would have been minted by now.
Yeah,
I mean, a lot came my way, I must admit.
It was insane. All right, we'll move on because we've got so much to talk about, and we're going to have to probably skip over a few points, really. So let's go on to Spectrum, 2021 Spectrum, 2nd of November 2022. Likes up on it. I think the most underrated set created so far. It doesn't get the love it deserves. We obviously have the Jade Rookie, but we love the fully geared, the relics, the banners, the chairs. Even though the chairs needed the little legs on them, it's it looks like a water float. And tables. There was less complexity, but I think it worked in Spectrum for sure. I've put one dislike, and that's grey.
No,
we always take the mick on the show that the base was a little grey.
You're 100% right. I wouldn't disagree with that at all. And it's funny because when you look at stuff on a computer screen, and it that looks good and everything, and then sometimes when you see it live, it's different. Sometimes it looks a lot better. In this case, I agree. I thought there should have been more color to it, and it's unfortunate. Sometimes you create the color with the deco foil, but maybe we just didn't have enough deco foil on it. I do appreciate that you have the same feel that it is unappreciated. I don't know. I think down the road people will remember it, and it'll have one of those comebacks, I think. But not that it's ignored. It's just I think it's a great. This was one of those we have all this. AEW is one of the greatest licensors that I've worked with when it comes to how willing they are to do stuff for us. And it's just like, well, can we get turnbuckles? Well, can we get this? Can we get that? And they just kept giving us all this amazing stuff. And it's just like, well, let's start putting this into cards. And we did that with some of those inserts. I was so mad because I wanted to be the first to do. I want to say it was turnbuckles, one of them, and I think I got beat out by. I think we got beat by Topps by like a month, and I'm like, I swear there's like microphones in this building, and they're just able to print the stuff a little faster than us or something because they have their own vendor. But that was in the mind for quite some time. But and like the metal chair cards I thought were kind of cool. But like. You go to a wrestling match, and those first 15 rows, all those people that spent $1 million per ticket, like I'm sure you guys did. I'm sure you guys are walking out with a chair at the next paper. I'm assuming, but
not at AEW, sadly. Definitely not at Wembley. But yeah, I mean, you go over to the States, you get a floor seat, you get a chair, right? You take it home with you.
I used to be I was a seat filler at SummerSlam back in the day because it was in Los Angeles, and my friend worked for the Staples Center, so he would let us be seat fillers, and then we usually stayed in the same seat the whole time, and we were walking out with a chair every time. It was fun, but there's just a lot of uniqueness to that, and that's like our first venture towards the high end realm. That being said, I think Black Diamond's going to blow it out of the water.
Yeah, really.
But it was a fun set to make. When you do thicker cards and laminated cards, it's actually a lot more expensive to do that. So, you obviously we can't put as much stuff in there, but you do get an auto per box, which is nice. The checklist is good. Like you said, I think that was Jade's first card. There might be a couple other people in there that was their first cards, and
Yeah, he's like Ethan Page.
yeah, it was a fun set to build for sure.
Sorry, come on, Jay.
Sorry, Lord, you mentioned about obviously the relics and stuff and trying to get those banners and different things come through. I mean, a lot of people said with year one there was a lot of plain coloured stuff, but when Spectrum came along, there was obviously a lot of multicolour patches, and that was that higher end kind of feel to it. And things like the tables and stuff, like, would that just then turn up to you as a full item, or would you then have to send it off to be processed and then put? How would that even go about? Would you know what was going to be sent to you to relic up, basically?
So when we do our signings, we also like do our memorabilia stuff with the wrestlers. Like I went to the Double or Nothing and was watching them like putting on the shirts, and it's so funny. Billy Gunn is just like running around with his shirt on, and he's like, "I gotta go to the bathroom," and they're like, what is it used? Is it bathroom used? You know, like do we put that on the back of the card?" But so like the memorabilia and stuff, and yes. We did save some of the better pieces of the shirts for Spectrum. It's a higher end product.
Yeah.
I actually have, I mentioned her name too much, I'm sorry, but I actually have like the two eyes from the Ty Mello cards. Like both of them are on the auto mem card.
Wow.
It's pretty cool. Out of 10, I think. But like each, our mem cutting department, they're good. They can, they figure out what would be the best pieces to put into cards, and they understand, the rarer the card, probably the better piece of memorabilia. And then some of it is just like we might say, "Hey, do you have this?" And they'll say yay or nay. And other times, like a couple years ago when we went to Double or Nothing, we literally after the match got to walk like down on the ring and be like, "I want that." Like, "Oh, that's the garbage can that Kenny Omega used, like Captain America shield." I go, "We want that. We want this garbage can that was over top." Like we got to kind of pick and choose, and then they all just throw it on a big like whatever they like shipping thing, and then it got shipped to North Carolina where we keep all of our memorabilia.
Have you got the full length, like a picture of the banner you use for Jericho? Because that in itself is like massive.
So there's times we've done that I don't know if we took pictures of it.
Yeah.
There'll be times when in our hockey, I'll be like, "Hey, I want a photo of the exact jersey that they wore. I want a photo of, the banner or the towel or something." And they put the photo on the back. I don't think that we did that in this instance, but this is the apron. This is these are the matches, and Banner Year is one of those inserts that we do in SP Game Used Hockey that we just kind of brought over to wrestling.
It's really cool. It's nice to see. I think we've always hinged on having something that you can put on a match, or that was around this period, you can actually match those things up. So the fact that you've had that effort to go, okay, these are all from Double or Nothing, and eventually may be used, it's quite a cool thing to know that may be around.
And before we do move on, I'd just like to say thank you to Billy for the creation of, if you want to check your phone quickly, our messages, the creation of the Eddie Kingston penis card, which has been a shining light of our podcast for the last 2 years.
And your PC.
And my PC as well.
Yeah, I don't know if that was planned.
You didn't think you were going to see that one today, did you, eh? But yeah, honestly, thanks for that. Okay, we'll move on to 2022. We call it Series 2, 30th November 2022. So a lot of rookies, Hook predominantly. Much cheaper, simplistic products. A lot of love on EPack. Dislikes base used the same border as Top Rope. For some reason, that really irked me, and I don't know why. It's missing complexity. It felt far removed from the first product.
Felt like a little scaled back, maybe.
Yeah, scaled back. It just felt like it was too far scaled back because we loved the complexity of the first 2021, basically.
So sometimes you get things happen with sets. One of the things was, I think the price point was a lot different.
Much
And
cheaper.
we didn't that wasn't on us, by the way. I'm just going to put that out there. Both products were built about the same. But there's sometimes like things change, and which causes the products to change, which means then you have to make last minute decisions to do something or not do something, or keep something in and not keep something in. And there were things that happened that we couldn't afford. Some of the glitz and glamour that we wanted to put into that second set. So unfortunately, I think you got kind of a scaled back version of what we really wanted. And it kind of it seemed a little more repetitive of the first year. I'll completely admit that. Like, there were some things that we wanted to do, just we weren't able to get it done. And so to say it's probably, of the three so far, the weakest of the three, I can't argue with that, because even though I didn't build it, I think very highly of 2023. That's pretty much where we're coming from. There was some stuff that had to get cut.
Yeah.
And you have to make some tough sacrifices, and unfortunately, that was one of it. That is, though, like, we were able to put the hard signed, like I had mentioned earlier, the hard signed buybacks in there, which I thought helped add some value to it. But
a little surprise that we weren't expecting as well. They weren't kind of on a checklist. They were just sort of people.
Oh yeah, we like to do what we call Easter eggs every now and then, and kind of surprise people with some stuff. So that was definitely one of our Easter eggs. But let's see. The first one, you had we put the breakouts in there. That was another thing. Like the first set had the shadow box cards, which I don't think there'd ever been shadow box cards in wrestling sets, and we wanted to do like an EX style, like breakout kind of insert set for that. Those cards cards are not cheap to make. So it was one of those, like, okay, pick your poison. And we chose to keep those in there because they have a strong standing in our regular flagship sets. And hold on a second, I'm doing a podcast. I'm warning my boss I'm probably going to be a little bit late to our weekly meeting. Oh, so you guys can have a little extra time.
Oh man, it's very kind of you.
Thank you. No. To be honest, though, I do think it has found a home on EPack. If you the amount that's, I don't know, like, the amount that's sold on there, but I've seen so much of it go onto EPack. A lot of people love chasing achievements on EPack, and with as we call it, Series 2. I know you hate it. Sorry. With Series 2. They honestly, people have flocked to try and get those achievements as well. So I think it really did find a home on there, and the price point was like half the price, right, of the first series.
Definitely helped
with all the rookies as well. So there is many. So yeah, no, it was good. It was good. I think, well, to be honest, I think a lot of what we're going to talk about is the next two now. So metal followed by a law. So metal likes PMGs, retros, rookies, and the autos, all lovely. Dislikes numbering of the green PMGs. We've talked about this, Billy. I think it's a metal thing, right?
It's
like
yeah.
We've stepped away from it a little bit in some of our other sets, where unless it's from now on, our rule is, unless it is a vintage PMG design, we're just going to number them to 10 so people understand it, because it's just confusing, and you feel bad for the guy that thinks they have a card numbered out of 100 and it's really numbered out of 10, and they sell it for less than what it's worth. But the from now on, the throwback designs will do that.
Yeah. I think obviously the grading of the PMGs is tough as well, but ultimately I don't see that, like, we know the process of making the metal PMGs, right? The oils that you use, the paints that you use, right? And it's tough, and they're not going to grade really that well. So I think it's understandable. I would never get a PMG graded anyway. I didn't see the point of doing it. I think they look nice, you know what I mean? So they're very. I'm a very big believer anyway of keeping my PC in top loaders, really, and I just think they look great in top loaders. So.
I'm the same way. I haven't graded it. I can't remember the last time I graded a card. So I have boxes of top loaders. Those take up less space. So I'm fine with that. I'm not. It's your PC. You're not sitting there and like selling it off. So keep it how you like it to look at it.
Well, Jamie's now got a chest of drawers full of of top loaders from the last episode. Well done, Jamie.
Thanks.
Okay, cool. We'll move on to Allure. So, likes a lot of people's favourite product. I think we're going to probably talk a lot more about Allure than anything else right now. So, it's cheap, fun, complexity was spot on. Dislikes, hard to find many. I think the card stock a bit bendy sometimes. I mean, these are just small things. I've had the same issue with other Allure products from other sets. Like, no matter what top loader you stick it in, it bends the top loader. And I wish it came out. I wish we had a 2022, 2023, and a 2024 Allure, because that would be amazing. But honestly, I think Allure, for a lot of people, hit the nail on the head. Breakers, collectors, everything.
It's still going strong now. EPack is through the roof still, isn't it?
So I forgot to mention something about Metal Universe, which I think is funny, and I swear I'll go right back to lore.
Yeah.
Just talking about working with the licensor, because it's a funny story. I try to be cute sometimes. Like, Metal Universe is known for weird, wild inserts and everything, and so the Bonzo Gonzo insert, I was just like, oh yeah, it's like when there's like a bunch of people, blah 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 blah, and AEW's like, the guys, it's actually Excalibur who we're talking to, and he's like, I've been in the wrestling business for a while. He's like, I've never even heard of Bonzo Gonzo. And I'm just like, well, just trust me. And he's like, all right, we'll let it go. But they had no idea what that was. Allure, I'm going to tell you, it's funny. This is one of those products that got like pushed basically a whole year. And this hopefully will excite you, and not discourage you for the one that came out. So we had this decision to make, like, well, what are we going to do, like, with our calendar and stuff? And they're like, well, we'll just move 2022 to 2023. And I was like, and I had, again, sometimes I get a little cutesy. Like, I thought the ice cream bar was like kind of funny. Like, at the time, it was like, oh, Punk just joined, like, the chocolate ice cream bar. Yeah, you never saw the ice cream bar again through the whole run of Punk at AEW. So I felt like stupid that was in there. And there was supposed to be the buses and billboards. Just turned into buses because Billboard, we can't use, there's like a lot of legal stuff. We can't use the name Billboard because of Billboard
chart.
Records and stuff.
Right,
yep, exactly. So instead it just turned into buses, which again, you see buses all the time. Let's just make them super rare and, they'll be fine. But people, when they first see some of these designs, they're like, this is weird and I don't get this and whatever. So I might have gotten a little bit cutesy on some of the stuff, but the 2023 that I had built for, I literally asked them, I'm like, can we just scrap 2022 and bring out 2023 and 2023? I go, because this set's 10 times better, in my opinion. So it like goes along with the themes of the shows. Goes along with like just stuff that the crowd chants and stuff dealing with wrestling. So I'm glad that you guys like 2023, the new 2023. I can't wait for you guys to see 2024 because I think that one is even better. But that being said, we couldn't not have a chrome style product. When I say chrome, I don't mean like a Topps chrome. I mean the stock that it's on, a chromium type product. Just can't, like, this is what the market like is all about right now is prism this and chrome shiny that and shiny that. So, we would be doing the collectors a disservice if we didn't come up with a product on some sort of chromium type stock. And yes, that stock unfortunately does bow a lot and you get that little waviness to it, unfortunately. Hopefully they've fixed the discoloring. I don't know if you like all those Kobe Bryant rookies from chrome, like in 2000 whatever, like turning green and stuff because there wasn't enough testing done back in the day. But so we wanted to build a set, and Allure just seemed like it worked best. Like we have our O-Pee-Chee Platinum, and I don't think we wanted to do an O-Pee-Chee set. I think we wanted to give, like, Allure's kind of known for being bright, colorful. That's one of the things too about Allure is, like, when you open up a pack, you see color. I can't stand opening a chrome pack of cards and my color is just a shinier version
Silver
of the
parallel.
base card. Yeah.
Silver, yeah.
So I don't know if you saw in hockey, we actually just got rid of the regular base cards. The base cards are rainbow foil. So
Wow.
we're like, screw it. Like, our parallels are colorful. So might as well make our base cards look like your, like, big hits. Like, that was just kind of a little decision that we made. But yeah, that was a fun set. Wanted to add some die cuts in there. Wanted to add the rainbows. The color flows is just kind of a cool idea that we came up with. I think AEW's came out. Maybe AEW, or either Hockey's or AEW's came out first. But it's just kind of like, how many times do you hear people, I want to collect the rainbow,
Yeah, and it
like, of
happens.
cards,
Yeah.
of the parallels, and, like, let's make a rainbow for them. And so that's basically what we did, and we wanted to make it attainable. You don't want that last card that, like, you don't want a million red oranges, and then there's only like 5 blue purples, and you're just stuck with half a rainbow. Like,
Yeah.
we wanted to make it attainable, but we still wanted there to be some sort of chase factor to it. So I think, like, the blue purples are 199, and that's on
That's right.
purpose. It's attainable, and that's one huge thing about, and that's one thing that's important about a product like a chromium style product like Allure, is because there's so many parallels. Like, you find a lot more, like, Jamie, great job being a master set collector, but you find a lot more character collectors than I'd say you do
Oh, yeah,
set
massively.
collectors. You just have the people that you like. So having all the parallels to kind of collect for one person, it makes it more collectible, and people are still trying to trade, and that's the best part. Like, you get one of these parallels, it's in Metal Universe, but I got a red Sting PMG, and I went and traded to a guy for a green Ty Mello, because, I mean, that's what I collect, but there's value. Like, you can get a valuable card of someone that you might not like, but because there's so many character collectors out there, you should be able to find somebody that collects what you have, and there's a big part of that with Chrome, or with with Allure, is because it's so highly character collected.
You said there were the colour flows as well. There's that additional chase as well on EPack to then get all the colour flows, to then get that full rainbow achievement card of that person as well. So again, it's that additional chase that you wouldn't get normally otherwise, other than EPack. So it's always that Easter egg or that little bit of a chase, which Upper Deck always do really well, really.
So when we look at our builds, like, I don't know how familiar everybody is with EPack, but when I build a set,
Too familiar.
Too familiar.
when I build a set, it's not like, okay, after it comes out, how many EPack cases? No, I already have a specific number of EPack cases and a specific number of hobby cases. When the cards are printed, the cards that are going to EPack are then flown to ComC, and they do all the scanning, and or our other people, or whoever, our group that runs EPack. I don't want to list names and stuff, but that group, they do all the scanning and all that stuff, and that takes time. And that's one of the reasons why EPack comes out later. The other reason is we believe in hobby shops, and we don't want to step on the toes. So we give hobby shops enough time for them to sell the product, or either sell out, or do whatever. And then when we bring it out on EPack, we actually try to give it a competitive price. Like, we don't want to sit there and lowball them because we know what it was supposed to be, or go way above. Like, we have to kind of come out there with a competitive price. So we have an initial price that we think it's going to be, but it might be less, it might be more. So with EPack, whenever I'm doing a build, I have to kind of look and see, like, okay, how many of these cards, how many cards per subject is this going to be? Like, is that enough that I want to build an EPack achievement for it, that people are going to want to collect it? Like, if it's a 100-card set and I say, okay, collect all the high gloss parallels and you're going to get this super autograph. Well, there might only be like half that amount on EPack, and then to have to collect 100 cards numbered, that's almost impossible. So you have to think about, okay, how attainable is this? You kind of have to match the prize with the attainability, and so there's a lot of thought process. And we have like our own EPack team that a lot of times will review what our EPack achievements are, and they have all the data to kind of say, okay, well, this achievement didn't necessarily work. Like, there's still like 100 out of the 150 achievements, and it's been on there for 2 years. Like, maybe we don't do that achievement. Maybe we do something else. So there's definitely a thought process. The one thing I will say about EPack, and I don't know if I'm jumping ahead, but I know I don't have too much. He said it's okay, but
we'll wrap it up here.
He said it's okay, but I don't. He's like, don't go 20 minutes over.
No. We'll wrap it up now.
No. We got a little bit of time. Well, I had to get my camera to work, so that took an extra 5 minutes. The one thing I'll say about EPack, as much as we don't have as much as we've kind of been delayed on releases, the one thing I like about EPack is it's almost like a second release. I don't know how many times. I don't know how many times I hear people like, I can't find, boxes, hobby boxes. Like, they might be able to find retail boxes at a Walmart or whatever, but you can't find the hobby boxes. Well, now you're able to get out to everybody and anyone that has a phone or a computer.
Yeah.
And so
we're the audience.
We are the audience.
Welcome across the pond. Have a seat. Welcome to our misery trying to get product.
Trust me, I see the volume that goes to international, so I feel your pain. But that being, and that should be going up, because we've seen what the last pay-per-view did over there, and I'm assuming the next one's going to be just as big. So it does add another almost like release date, having that EPack release, because, and what's kind of fun with that, and not to give away your guys' secrets of this is how you buy stuff, but the achievements will then sometimes cause people to buy stuff to where then after they get the big achievement that they wanted, they have all these cards that they don't want, so they put it all on ComC, and then you see Billy sitting there refreshing his computer every 30 minutes to see if any of the inserts have popped up that we wanted. So, there's some. And then it's funny because then you see it dry out again real quick, and then all the stuff is back to normal. But you usually get like about a month where it's a frenzy of getting some good cards.
Honestly, I think honestly, it's been so good having EPack as an option, basically, where other we don't talk about the competition, but other companies don't really have that, and it's so refreshing to be able to. I think that's why
buy a pack when you want. Ultimately,
well, we feel so much connected with Upper Deck and AEW more than the other companies, because we feel like we have a relationship with you, because we have that avenue of buying, trading and selling stuff where we don't with other products, basically. So that's generally how it's been developed over the last couple of years, really. So yeah, and I think that lends, and going back to the start of this, that lends to the frustration of not really having anything for 2024. Because of our relationship strong, especially in the UK.
Well, we had a little conversation just recently, because obviously, you had the Fanatics Fest and they brought all these wrestlers, and it's just kind of like we were talking about it. I'm like, guys, look, I got a podcast I'm doing today. Let me show you what their first question is. Yeah. And, again, a lot of it just has to deal with timing and vendors. Yeah. And one of our one of our project managers for AEW just walked past us. Yeah, so it's coming. And I'm telling you right now, Black Diamond's going to be ridiculous. I've seen a lot of the design sets, and I'm glad we didn't get beat to it, but this is going to be the first product that has strap in it. And when I say, I'm not talking about like, how they have like, oh, well, this was kind of, no, these are the official belts that the wrestlers had during their runs with the belt that they said, okay, we got to change the plate, and they're like, we got the strap, you want it? And we're like, are you kidding me? And I was so mad that Tony got to use that before I did. You might see it someplace else in the future, and maybe another set that we're working on. To give you a heads up, you're always going to have a flagship. I think we're going to go every other year with metal and allure. That way we don't kill PMGs, we don't kill, the golden treasure and stuff. Like we're not saturating the market. So we're gonna rotate something else in. So 2024 is Black Diamond. I can't announce what 2025 is, but I've already built it, and I'm really excited about that. It's a mid-tier, high-end product, so it should be a lot of fun. And with lots of memorabilia, stuff that you just haven't seen before, which excites me. And so we just need to spread it out better. That's the honest truth. Is we're not gonna put out a million sets, but I think we do need to do a better job spreading them out so they come out evenly, and then kind of mixing in the EPack releases and mixing in stuff like exclusives on EPacks, like the new arrivals and whatnot.
We'd love with the EPack stuff, with the match dated moments and stuff like that. We were talking about this the other day, weren't we, Jamie? We'd love like autograph variants of it, like you know what I mean, like maybe not to buy, but as like an insert instead of like a gold or something like that. Yep. Maybe that comes out something like that.
We're definitely looking to improve it. That goes without saying. I'm very critical. I collect them all. I collect. I don't. The ones I don't collect silver and gold new arrivals. But every single pay-per-view, I've spent like. There was one time I think I had to spend $300 to finally get the stupid gold. I was so mad. I go 51 packs to get the gold. Like, are you kidding me? They do this to me. They always set them up on my payday, on my non-rent payday. They always set up EPack pay-per-views. I kid you not. They're laughing as hard as you are. But it's the truth. No, I don't know if it's the truth or not. But and I've had discussions with them, and they've there was one where like the prize was just like photo variants, and I'm like, I did all of this, and I got a photo of Eddie Kingston suplexing a guy, like, and then they stepped it up big time, and they did the women one with the different parallels, and it's like, yeah, see, when you do something like this. Like those sky blues are selling for $150 to $250. Yeah. Like, you want to give them something of value, and we've definitely looked at memorabilia, and we've definitely looked at autographs to and serial numbering to add to the value of collecting it.
What I was going to say is, like, you mentioned the so we were not going to mention like Series 3, the last flagship that came out. You didn't create it. We're time bound anyway, but the question we did have actually internally here about that was the person who took that on instead of yourself. Did they actually come from EPack? Because it felt very EPack.
No, so Pat built that one. Okay. So we have our strengths and our weaknesses. I'm a numbers guy. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, I collect, and I'm very good with figuring out values and how to make cards valuable and stuff like that. Pat is our 90s insert expert and early 2000s insert expert. Like, this dude knows everything, and he's very creative, and he built that set, and I thought he did, like, that's why I'm jealous of it. Like, I thought his inserts were great and spot on, and he had some fun with it, and I would say he challenged our design team more than I challenged our design team in Series 2. You had me calling it Series 2. I hate you. I think he challenged our design team, and they stepped up to the plate and were able to create what he envisioned. And the other thing is, I don't know if you noticed, but I think we cut back on autographs even more in that set, and he was able to add even more technology and some more cool stuff in there, because it's tit for tat. If you want something cool, you might have to take something out, and vice versa. But seeing that set got me ready to build some of the other sets I built. challenged then I'm challenged. If you can do that for him, then you can do this for me, sort of thing.
Nice.
So no, I think for a flagship set for collectors, not guys that are ripping just to get like, $1 million cards out of every pack or whatever, but for a collector, for the kids and all that stuff, man, that was a great set. I'll give credit where credit's due, and I'm jealous. I get jealous very rarely when it comes to my counterpart stuff. That one I'm jealous of.
Any other questions, guys, before we let this man go?
No, I mean, the only thing is I want to say, Billy, is it'd be nice to have you on down the line, maybe to do a product breakdown when new product comes out. And could we kind of go through it on the pod every time about checklists, and think it'd be nice to have that kind of preview with you at some point down the line and just sort of keep in touch, really.
Yeah, guys, I'm like, I do other stuff for other sports and other licenses all the time. And sometimes it's like whenever a hockey product comes out, we are on some Vancouver AM radio station and talking about the product. Like, who's gonna hype the product better than the people that build the product? And and it's not just me. We've got Tony, Pat, Matthew. They've all built AEW sets, and so they'll be more than happy to come on also. But you guys you got my all you gotta do is pull another Time Mellow card that I want. We'll make a trade and we'll set another. In case people don't know that are watching this, that's how this all got set up. We knew. Like,
I always had, like, I was always really other than the story of me pulling the Time Mellow card. Johnny Tancredi's a good friend of ours. Basically.
Those guys are great, yeah.
And he mentioned it. You were on the show last time. You should come onto the show. I was like, oh God, I need to get in contact with him, and never did.
What better way?
Always wanted to. and then I hit a Time Mellow card that you didn't have, and you ended up in my DMs, and I couldn't believe it. So I was like, this is divine intervention happening right now.
I get tagged now whenever in these Facebook groups, whenever someone has one, there's a few guys, Hutchinson and some other guys that literally just immediately tag me because they know, like, it's weird. It's just, I don't want to say I can't get enough, but it's just like I said, I had 13 of the exclusives. If I see one for a good price, I'm going to buy it. And I don't even know what, like, it's one of those things where you meet a wrestler for the first time and they're super nice, and then you're just like, I'm a fan. And so I became a fan. And every time I would go to the Double or Nothing pay-per-view, they walk around and she will always come over and be like, do you have any cards for me? Because I always bring her cards for herself. And then I'll get a picture, and Sammy will try to photobomb me in the photo, and it's all fun.
Talking of Sammy, one thing before you do go, I'd love like a kayfabe collection, like backstage photos within a collection one time, like Sammy Guevara picking his nose, or Wardlow eating a panini or something like that.
So
it'd be hilarious.
So the behind the curtain insert was actually supposed to be that, and then
really?
It didn't. And then for some reason, they're like, we couldn't get photos, and then the design came out all weird, and then that's one of those inserts that the idea was great, and it just did not get executed very well at all. Those cards look really cheap. And I'm sad about that one because I wanted exactly what you're talking about. I wanted the behind the scenes stuff. But
never knew that. There you go.
Yep.
There you go. Well, thank you, Billy, again for coming on. I say, to echo what Jamie says, we'd love you to have you on. I think maybe when a law drops next year, and then we'll obviously, it's your set. We can break down your set next year. I think that'd be quite cool, man.
Yeah, it'd be really cool.
Sounds great, guys. And and if you want Pat or Tony or whatever, just message me. I'll get them on here for you. They are just as enthusiastic as I am.
Cool, we'll do. Excellent. Lovely. Well, there you have it. Our interview with Billy Celio. Finally, lads, Jamie, Chris. Finally, we've been able to do it. It's been in the offing for quite a while, to be honest. Probably around a year. I'm just so happy that we've been able to come together to do that today. So great. Obviously, you're probably thinking, where's the other show? Obviously, this is the drop where we normally put the other show, our main show in. So I do apologise. That will be next week. We're recording next week. It will be out next weekend, probably. So you basically get 2 shows on the bounce. So there you go. That's how much we love you guys. We're just giving you content all the time. Anything else from Chris? Anything from your side?
I'm just really happy that I now can make some sense of those buses, because the buses and billboards is a great idea and makes really, really great sense. But the buses on their own didn't really hit so well, did it? So I'm happy. I'm happy that I now know that.
I'm quite pleased that Billy also knows the pain of collecting stuff and knowing how much you have to put into it, and that I think that obviously ripples through. Actually, reward people for buying what they're going to be buying and stuff like that. So, I mean, that was a really good chat.
He's definitely your brother. He's your brother.
Separated, mate.
He just, bless.
I'll send him a picture of my AEW drawers and I'll show you. It was really good chat. Really good.
I'm just glad he got to see the Eddie Kingston penis. All of the, we've been building that one up for 2 years. The creator finally sees his creation. There you go. Guys, thank you so much for today, and look, we'll speak to you very soon. So thank you, and good night, and have a great. Those who are going to All In, have a great time.
AEW.
AEW.